That's right. What I'm interested in is how we lift up families, provide more support for families, because when families are strong, America is strong. Now, when I talk like this, which I've been talking like this for about 40 years, when I talk like this, Donald Trump accuses me of playing the woman's card. I'll tell you what, you know what's coming. If equal pay, raising the minimum wage, making child care affordable, protecting a woman's right to choose is playing the woman's card, then deal me in. Look, we also have to make sure people can get quality, affordable health care. I will defend the Affordable Care Act. Before there was something called Obamacare, there was something called Hillary Care, so I know. But we've got to get the costs down. Premiums, co-pays, deductibles, prescription drug costs, they're going up too fast. And we got to do two more things. We have to do a better job treating mental health and addiction. Great work for us to do. I look at these young people. I want them to believe, because I believe it, that America's best years are still ahead of us if we do our part. If we work together, if we make the decisions we must to provide the opportunities. But it's also important that we protect America. And I gave a speech in San Diego a few days ago outlining all of the reasons why I do not think Donald Trump is qualified to be Commander-in-Chief. I don't say that lightly. I use his own words. When someone running for president attacks our closest allies and praises dictators, I don't know what to make of that. When someone running for president says we should pull out of our major defense alliance, namely NATO, and he doesn't really care whether countries like Japan, South Korea, and Saudi Arabia get nuclear weapons, that's dangerous. When he says that he wants to return to torture and that he's going to order our military to kill the families of suspected terrorists, that's not only against our values, that violates international law. But it also runs counter to the honor of our country and the honor of the men and women who serve in our armed forces. And I want to tell you, I was one of that small group that was asked to advise President Obama about whether or not to go after bin Laden. We had intelligence that pointed to an odd-looking big compound in a city in Pakistan that was a military garrison city. That's where their equivalent of West Point was. A lot of active duty, retired military lived there. So we knew we had to get it right. I was very committed to bringing bin Laden to justice because I was a senator from New York on 9/11. I was at ground zero within 24 hours of our being attacked. I saw what it meant for us to have 3,000 people murdered. So I was going to do what I could, but it had to be done in a very careful, thoughtful way. So we studied the intelligence. We worked on this for hours. And then at the end, the president went around and asked everybody for their opinion. It was a very experienced group of people, but we didn't all agree. Some said, well, you know, I just don't think the intelligence is strong enough. We shouldn't do it. Others said, look, I think it's strong enough, but I don't want to risk our special forces going into Pakistani territory, so let's just use a missile. And others said, it's strong enough, and we've got to send in special forces because otherwise we will never know if we got him. And I was in that last category, we all gave our opinions. 2 points I want to make to you. The president, at the end of listening, said he was going to retire and ponder carefully what he should do. Because you can have all the experts, you can have all the good advisors, but at the end of the day, these hard choices have to be made by the president. And the president made the decision, and the raid was carried out. And during that raid, some of you may have seen the movie or read about it, one of the helicopters clipped its tail going in to land in the courtyard of the compound, which meant it was disabled, which meant that after the SEAL team got into the compound, fought with the bodyguards of bin Laden, one of his adult sons, and then bin Laden himself, they had to blow up that helicopter before they could leave. And here's what I want you to know. They stopped and took precious seconds to take all the women and children out of that compound. So that when they blew that chopper, they would not be putting those lives at risk. Now those were, let's face it, those were wives of terrorists. Those were children of terrorists, including bin Laden's. But that, my friends, is what American honor looks like. Is whether you can unify our country. And everything we've been hearing from Donald Trump tries to divide us. Day after day, attacks on people, starting by attacking immigrants from Mexico, attacking women, attacking Muslims, attacking with disabilities, attacking John McCain. It's really troubling to see someone seeking the most important job probably in the world who talks about people like that. Now just recently we've seen another example. This so-called Trump University. It wasn't really a school. It wasn't accredited. It was a scam. It was a scam. And it took advantage of vulnerable people, encouraging them to max out their credit cards, empty their retirement savings, destroy their financial futures. The victims and the Attorney General of New York are suing Trump for fraud. And Donald's own employees are testifying that it was a fraud. Now, how does Trump respond? He's trying to distract people by making a prejudiced, bigoted attack on the federal judge who's hearing the case here in California. He has said that this judge should be disqualified because, in Trump's words, he has Mexican heritage. Now this is not just another outlandish, insulting comment from Donald Trump, and it is not normal politics. This is something much, much more dangerous. Now let me tell you about this judge. His name is Judge Curiel. His parents immigrated to the United States. They settled in Indiana. That's where their 4 children, including the judge, were born. And the last time I checked, Indiana was part of the United States. Their youngest son went to law school, became a prosecutor, and went after the toughest criminals. For 1 year when he was a prosecutor, he lived in hiding because of threats from drug cartels against him. Then he was appointed to the state court here in California by former Republican Governor Schwarzenegger. And then he was appointed to the federal court by President Obama. This, my friends, is the story of America. This is an inspiring story of someone who worked for everything he had. It's a story that makes me proud. Judge Curiel is as much and he's as much of an American as Donald Trump is. But he has Mexican roots. So to Donald Trump, that means he can't do his job. Well, Donald Trump's not just wrong about Judge Curiel, he's wrong about America. He's wrong about what makes this country great. And on a day that we are mourning Muhammad Ali, it's worth remembering that we live in a country where people can break down barriers, where they can worship their own God, where they can choose their own name, and where they can lead and follow their dreams as far as their hard work and love will take them. I've always believed that in America, it doesn't matter where your parents were born or what color your skin is. We're judged by our words and our deeds, not our race, not our ethnicity, not our religion. So it is time to judge Donald Trump by his words and deeds. And I believe that his words and his deeds disqualify him from being president of the United States.